What's happening, family? Welcome to Arrington's Most Interesting People. Look, on this episode, I want to ask you something. How's your finances, right? You got your finances straight? If not, well, look, you're going to enjoy this conversation I had with my dear friend Tanita Brinkly. She is a financial expert, financial guru. She is the founder of Secure the Bag Conference, which is a very well-known, successful conference here in Hampton Roads, Virginia. Entrepreneurship, small business, minority-owned businesses, you name it, they speak on all topics. And she also has some well-known people that come in the area to speak to all local business owners. Recently, she had Dame Dash in town, and he was one of the speakers, and it was dope. It was dope. She's doing so much great stuff. Currently, she started a luxury event space, which is, massive out in Portsmouth, Virginia. She's still doing finance, still going around the world speaking, and I was just honored to have her on the show to kind of help me with my finances as well. So I hope y'all can get your pen and paper ready. Hope you learn something from this conversation here on Arrington's Most Interesting People. Hey, what's going on, friends? Look, welcome to another great segment I call Arrington's Most Interesting People. Look, where I get to sit down and discuss and just have great conversations with some unique individuals, not only doing amazing things in their line of work, but also in the community. Look, this up, I have my good friend, Miss Tanita Brinkly. She is the owner of Tanita Brinkly Enterprises, has over 16 years of experience as an accountant, an award-winning accountant, small business consultant, bookkeeping, payroll, tax preparation, and she's the founder of the also successful Secure the Bag Conference. Ladies and gents, let's give it up for my dear friend, Miss Tanita Brinkly. Tanita, what's goody?
Hey!
What's good? Look at bringing out the colors. See, I see both brought the colors going on.
It's a vibrant thing.
Grab a seat. Look, I'm so excited to have you on, man.
Thank you.
I'm such a huge fan. And before we get going in our conversation, can you please tell the audience a little bit about you that are unknown about Tanita Brinkly?
Yes, I'm Tanita Brinkly. I'm a small business accountant. I am the owner of Tanita Brinkly Enterprises, which is an accounting services firm that I created so that I could provide services like bookkeeping, payroll, business formation, budgeting, and tax preparation. I'm also, like you said in that nice intro, the founder of the Secure the Bag Conference.
That's right. Right.
I'm so excited about that. That's like my youngest baby.
Wow.
And that's catered to just bringing entrepreneurs together with like minds so that we can learn, connect, and grow.
Absolutely. And it's so very important about that. And now what led you to working in as an accountant? Because one thing I suffer when it comes to numbers, math is not my subject.
Yes.
So how did that go? How did that lead to what you're doing now? Where the passion for that?
It's crazy because I can't even say that math is my subject either. But when I was younger, in elementary, I was good at math, and we talking about elementary school math. So okay, let's get that clear. But I was good there. But my guidance counselor, she had to talk with me, and she was just like, with this, what do you want to do? Oh, because into high school, that math skill did stay there. Mm-hmm. So my guidance counselor pulled me to the side and just asked me, what do I want to do with this? Mm-hmm. And I was just like, well, what can I do with it? You guide me. You're the guidance counselor. So they started giving suggestions. And one of the things that came up was math teacher. I was like, that sounds a bit boring. I'm a little more swagnificent for that.
Hey. I love that word, swagnificent.
But the next thing that was mentioned was accounting. Mm-hmm. And at that time I had no idea what that was, but it just sparked my just interest to just see more about it. And then I just ran with it. I can't even say that I understood everything about it when I looked into it. It just seemed, like something I would want to pursue.
Wow.
Because it's not about knowing how to add, it's more so understanding the story that numbers tell. Okay. And once I learned that, it was like, oh, this is for me. I'm doing this.
Wow. And after, 16 years and counting, and countless awards that you're winning, and like I said, you're one of, at least I could say, Hampton Roads top accountants out here. Wow, you're doing so many amazing things. And you have an amazing conference called Secure the Bag Conference. Now, where did the idea of that come about for you?
So Secure the Bag Conference, you would think that it came just one day out of nowhere. And I'm like, okay, I just want everyone to just be millionaires. No, I was actually in the rough place. Mm-hmm. I was in a rugged place. Okay, can I say that?
Did you hear that?
You know, I was in a rugged place, right? And in that rugged place, I started realizing, wow, I needed to start over. I was going through a divorce, right? And in that divorce, I was losing a husband and a business.
Wow.
So, you know, I had to start from scratch with everything, right? But I had to do it fast because I had 2 young children.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, that was my bread and butter. So I need to like recreate that income and fast. And I thought to myself, what is the best way to build success, especially in a close-knit state like Virginia, the 757? Network. I had to get out there. I had to get myself out of that slump, out of that dark place, and meet people and shake hands. But it's not that many networking opportunities. And then the opportunities that you do have, they're not very inviting. You know, when I get there, I feel intimidated by the atmosphere. I'm scared to shake hands. The food
you feel
is
like
not,
you're left in a corner and you ganged up and say, no, you stay right there while we grown folk do it. And look, I totally agree with you because I've also been in environments like that too.
Right. And it's like, okay, I'm supposed to network in order to achieve success, but this doesn't feel good. I'm scared. Like this atmosphere is not so successful to me. Mm-hmm. So I said, you know what? Instead of trying to fix something that someone else is doing, just create your own, you know? So I really wanted to create an atmosphere where people can let their hair down and network for real. I want to, you know, have seasoned entrepreneurs tell their story because there are people who are like me who have hit roadblocks in their career but did not fail. They did not give up. But we need to hear more about that so that we can stay motivated because it's rough.
It really is. And I love that you brought all that up because, see, I'm still a student when it comes to entrepreneurship, but I always recommend and tell people like, networking is extremely important because if you don't build those relationships, then how do you get your message across?
Yes.
How do you, for one, build a base?
Yes.
And it's the phrase or the saying is not what you know, it's who you know.
Yes.
That really benefits.
It's true.
That really benefits.
Because you can be a genius at a thing that you do, but if no one knows about it, then
I mean, it's a part of life. It's a part of street smart. So I always say, look, I know a lot of summa cum laude and scholars that are struggling. And I know a lot of people that are the opposite that are achieving because the way of life works with relationship building. And on top of that, too, you cannot be hesitant. You can't be scared in this line of work because especially when you work for yourself.
Yes.
It is a struggle, but it's extremely important. I'm so glad you pointed that out. When it comes to networking in Hampton Roads, we lack a lot of networking events.
Yes.
I mean, I'm starting to see a little more of a shift. I think the pandemic might have, benefited that because a lot of people realize, okay, I need to have multiple streams of income. I can't just lean on one income.
Yes.
So I love too what the Secure the Bag conference does is that, like you said, let your hair down. We're not corporate. Be yourself, but you're here to learn, and it takes. You can't do it all by yourself. Yeah. You win in numbers. So what has been some of your biggest accomplishments, some highlights that you could talk about, the Secure the Bag conference that you have done? Because it's the fourth annual.
It's the fourth annual, yes. You said some biggest highlights. For me, I would say the biggest highlight is just the testimonies. After the conference, every year, people come to me and say, Tanita, oh my gosh, I met this one and that one. And guess what? We're starting a new business together. Wow. Or I met my business bestie and now we're about to go and do something, do this, that, and the third. I just love the fact that people who come to the conference are coming with just the mind frame to network, wanting to connect, so they're being proactive about it. Absolutely. And then actually, making moves after together. It just makes me happy because I am the same way. I like to connect with people, and if there's any kind of like-mindedness there, then we can do something together. Let's make this make sense for both of us.
Were you ever nervous when you first started with the Secure the Bag conference, like as far as like the turnout and all that good stuff?
Oh yeah, nervous is an understatement because think about it. The first conference started in 2020, right? And that's when the pandemic first hit. I'm telling you, I was in deep planning mode right when the shutdown happened. I was like, oh God, is this a sign? Should I not have it? Because the government not only shut us down, but then when they opened us back up, we were at like event capacity of like only 25 or 50 people.
Wow.
And I was like, what kind of conference is going to have 50 people? I'm trying to make a conference with 50 people. I'm trying to make an impact here. Come on now. At least give me 100. So I waited. I was patient about it. And then eventually, still in the year 2020, the government opened the world open back up, and we were able to have a capacity of 200. So I was like, okay, now we talking. So I went on overdrive. Wow. So the blueprint was already mapped out because the event was supposed to happen in June, but we shut down in March. So the blueprint was already set. I just put it on pause. So then about August-ish, I think when we got the green light to open back up, I got back on the promoting spree and then just had it in October.
Awesome.
And then I just kept October. I was like, you know what? October feels good anyway because I'm an accountant. Tax season is January through. People think January through April 15th. No. I want to say like until like June, July, because you got the latecomers, then you got the nonprofits, then you got the S corps, and this you have different categories.
Okay,
and they have different deadlines.
Okay. Well, look, you have your 4th annual one coming up October 7th. Now, where's it going to be held at?
It's going to be held at 757 Events Oceanfront Premiere.
Okay.
The Oceanfront Premiere. That's at 2014 Atlantic Avenue.
What to expect? Any surprises? Or
now,
anything?
you know I always got some on my sleeve.
I think I asked. You know, I'm trying to get my journalist question. Okay, what is it? Anything we should expect now?
Yes. Well, yeah, there's definitely some surprises to expect. I'm just not ready to release it.
Okay.
You know, gotta keep them on their toes a little bit.
I tried, y'all. I tried.
Yes.
Tanita Brinkly, award-winning accountant, awesome person. The shirt, the colors, everything is just fly.
Thank you.
Also a host, and I forgot to mention in the intro, host of the Pink Platform podcast. So you got to mention that.
Yes.
So look, we had in the beginning we were talking about you know, on the networking side, how, you know, a lot of business owners and people that are new to entrepreneurship, they struggle really kind of getting their feet out there. I also think too that sometimes they're great at it, but it's a matter on the acceptance factor. And I've like in your experience, like, have you ever had, you know, been around places where you were not accepted, and like, why do you think that, especially for like, you know, people of color? Like, why do you think?
That's a great question. Yes, and I think it's mainly because as an accountant, I'm expected to look a certain way, or talk a certain way, or be a certain way, and I'm not any of those things. But I have extensive knowledge in my area of expertise. So I felt at times where I was in places where I wasn't necessarily accepted for my, you know, I guess my demeanor or persona per se, but the knowledge was undeniable. Wow. So I wasn't, they can't
take your knowledge away. They
couldn't make me leave because, you know, they needed what I have. But yes, I have experienced that. And that's something that I too definitely want to try to kind of change that in my own little way. Absolutely. With the Secure the Bag conference, by providing that atmosphere where we are all accepted as we are and for what we have.
I love it.
Just because we want to grow in confidence and know that the people around us appreciate what we bring to the table and are proud of what we have.
I love it. And see, like, my whole mission, I always tell people, my whole mission is changing the narrative. Yeah. So you mentioned, like, you don't bring off the appearance of the typical accountant. Yes. Well, for me, starting in beard care, like, my whole mantra was, whether you work in corporate America or labor work, you can still be a man of distinction while rocking a well-groomed beard. Because I was a student in a private school that had no facial hair policy. Because why? They're preparing us for the real world. So to them, they're saying facial hair, unprofessionalism, you're a little lazy, this and the other. So I think now in our current society, a lot of narratives are being changed, and not judging people by the appearance. It needs to always go on, what can you bring to the table? And you bring amazing things to the table. Yes. I wish that it could stop, because we still have discrimination, is very out, alive and real. But I do think it's extremely important to see people see you accomplish these things and do it with such grace. And on top of that too, I feel as though, like, in our community, especially in the Black communities, low income areas, middle class, wherever you're at, I think in mostly Black communities, we lack when it comes to financial literacy. Like, I see more access to liquor stores and and you know, cigarette stuff that's not benefiting us, nor extending the legacy wealth. Right. And I think we need more, you know, Tanita Brinkly enterprise. I mean, because it does. It's a struggle. Yeah, and it's crazy because this is kind of something that I touched on at the first Secure the Bag conference in my opening speech, just talking about how I want people to kind of like be more
just willing to help each other. You know, it's kind of like back in the days with the Underground Railroad. I mean, as far as not necessarily physically speaking, like taking a person from one place to the next for safety, but helping each other with knowledge. Let's help lift each other as we climb. You know what I mean? You're climbing, you're gaining knowledge, and you're gaining connections, and you are, you know, excelling in your endeavors. But then there's someone else that's next to you who also aspires to do that, but they don't even know the first step to take. And it's like information is being kept so secretive that the rich get richer and the poor just stay poor. You know what I mean?
It still exists.
So we're trying to just bridge the gap with that.
Absolutely. Bet. Okay. So Tanita, like, as an accountant, you've encountered so many, you know, up and coming business owners, entrepreneurs that need help when it comes to the paperwork factor.
Yes.
What are some of the common flaws that you see a lot of business owners, even some that are like 6+ years in the game as a business owner? What are some of the flaws that you see?
You trying to have this interview for a whole week or so, right? Because where do I start? Okay, so the biggest thing that I encounter is just that business owners have a huge passion for what they do, but when it comes to the paperwork side of things, that is the biggest flaw. So bookkeeping and payroll and stuff like that, those are the areas that lack. Some people get the payroll thing together because the IRS ain't playing, but then the bookkeeping side of things, audits don't necessarily happen every day. So no one is pushed to get their books right until somebody's knocking at the door. You know what I mean? Or if a tax return is being audited or something like that. So my main thing that I tell business owners is be proactive instead of reactive. You know, just make sure you're doing your quarterly bookkeeping. If you got to do it yourself, that's fine. You know, just designate some time to do it so that it's done. And if you don't have the time, outsource, because it has to be done. Absolutely. And one thing I know my mom always told me many times is like, look, when you bring on a staff or when you hire people, don't try and do their job. Like, you know, there's a reason we can't do it all. We cannot, and you have to always know that. I think sometimes, I don't know, it's not a pride thing. It can also be like, hey, if they don't want to pay the finances, or they just like, I got this. It's simple. But then they struggle and then they screw pretty much. So it's like, it's very important to make sure you have that aspect covered. And that's why you need to hit up Miss Tanita Brinkly. Okay, I'm saying Tanita Brinkly. Tanita Brinkly, award-winning accountant. Thank you. So look, you also have an amazing podcast called Pink Platform, right? Pink Platform. So how was that created? Okay, so first of all, Pink stands for people you need to know. Okay, right? Okay. There's a whole meaning about it, because when you see pink, you think the color pink, but no, it's people you need to know. That's first of all, right? But that came about because my friend and I, we sat down and we were like, you know what? We're both business owners and we want to keep on pushing the narrative of women just connecting and showing that organic relationship of friendship and talking about business, lifestyle, and all that stuff. And then we bring people on as well. So we interview other business owners, but we don't necessarily talk business. Gotcha. Because you do that every day, right? So you got to kick back, you got to chillax. When you come on Pink Platform, we want to talk about balance. How do you keep the husband happy and the business happy? You know, how do the kids, you feeding the kids, but then you probably writing out your business plan or signing payroll checks, you know, like stuff like that. Like, we like to be able to understand the whole person for who they are, because we see people in their professional hat so often that we almost don't even look like humans anymore. You know, it doesn't look real. So we just try to tap into the real. Well, look, I think our Smooth Club we all have to do like a crossover kind of episode or something. That would be amazing. I don't know. We just might need to do so with the ladies. Now, Tanita, look, we have some time. What are some of some quick tips you can give to the people right now listening when it comes to, you know, like you mentioned, bookkeeping, all that good stuff? Yes. So I will reiterate the bookkeeping. Okay, so because that's a huge tip. Perform your bookkeeping procedures. Make sure that you are checking on your business financially at least once a quarter. Okay. Once a quarter, visit your financials and look at them. Make sure that you are in the black. You know, you ever heard that phrase, in the black? I never heard about it. Please explain it. People say, you know, in the red. We know what in the red means, right? Okay, we don't want to be in the red. We want to be in the black. And the black that's just accounting jargon for just being profitable, okay? Gotcha. But you want to review those financials every quarter, because if you are profitable, you need to be paying some estimated taxes on that profit. So it's best to do that instead of waiting till the end of the year and then you get hit with a fat tax bill. Because you are grinding all year. You are securing the bag all year, right? So the objective is to be profitable. Absolutely. So why ignore your financials? You know that you're going to owe Uncle Sam. Some people don't like paying taxes. I call it.
Is there like I always hate because especially we see a lot, of course, in in the media where a lot of celebrities going to, let's be real, Ron Isley, Wesley Snipes, a lot of people, and just to name just a few, but like, why do they not pay taxes?
Honestly, people like to blame the accountant. I'm sick of that. You have to just have a common knowledge of knowing that if you make money, you have to pay taxes. And at minimum, you can pay, I would say, annually, of course, at minimum, but to be more proactive, pay quarterly, and that will keep you on top of things because, I mean, if the goal is to keep making profit, at least pay the cost to be the boss. Now,
we're living in a tech-savvy world. A lot of everything is starting to be more digital, less papers. Now, do you tell people still to, keep a hard copy as well as have it? Like, what's your thoughts on that? Because that's one thing my mom was like, oh, everything is digital. And she still has the papers up to here. And I'm like, wow, it's getting a little close.
I mean, okay, I say I'm like that too. I'm a little dinosaur-y or whatever. I keep file cabinets, and I advise people to do that too. Because what happens if the internet shut down? I remember one time Facebook was not working, and everybody
the whole world stopped.
Like we were like, dumbfounded because that was a new way of life. But we have to keep our records, keep a file cabinet. For 7 years or whatever, so that you can just cover yourself in case of an audit. I mean, you want to secure the bag for real, right? That's part of securing the bag.
That's right. Okay. So we hit on that. We hit on reasons why people prevent to pay their taxes. Which, please, people, pay your taxes. Don't try and cheat the system. That's another thing. And have you encountered people that has said, "Hey, can I just stop here?"
Yep, trying to deduct everything under the sun. But there's strategy to taxes. This strategy, oh my gosh, I could go deep into it, but we're going to keep it a little surface talk.
Exactly.
But if you are aspiring to use your taxes to purchase assets, a home or any kind of investment property, you will want to make sure you are reporting as much profit as possible. So that means those pretty little write-offs, those things that help you owe less taxes, you might want to omit some of those on the next tax return that you file so that you can have more profit to report, but in turn, it does make you owe a little more taxes. That's why we need to be proactive and pay quarterly so it's not hitting you so hard.
Absolutely. What are some of the, some great advice or really that you can give to, to our culture when it comes to understanding financial literacy? What are some of those factors you can at least, hit out there for us?
I think that one of the main thing is it sounds like repetition, but just being on top of your taxes. A lot of people think that just having good credit is what's going to get you in the door, but your financial portfolio starts with a strong tax return. So if you have profit that you are reporting on your taxes and you're paying taxes on that profit, when you go for funding anywhere, they're going to ask you for a copy of that tax return, and you want to look good on paper. Not just on social media.
Thank you.
You want to look good on paper too. Okay?
I'm sorry. I'm picturing like somebody standing behind like an expensive car, and then the next day like, wait a minute, won't do just the manager?
Because you know what? There's a mind frame of our people. Like we want to look good, but then we don't really want to be responsible for what comes with it.
Yep.
So what's that called? Hood rich?
That's perfect term.
Okay, so like when it comes to the tax returns, we're trying to find every tax deduction under the sun to kind of bring that tax liability down. Because yes, I made X amount of dollars, but I don't want to pay all of the taxes. So now we write off until, it looked like I only made like $20,000. So now I might get the earned income credit for claiming my kids. I'm going to get the low income credit. I'm going to get a $12,000 tax refund because I wrote off every possible thing under the sun. But then now when it's time for me to buy a home, they laughing in my face.
Tanita, I think that's a good way to end. Okay, that's perfect. That is perfect. Look, how can people continue to support, tune in, if they need some assistance, how can they get in contact with you?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Visit my website, www.tanitatalksbusiness.com. I am also on the radio. I can be heard every first Tuesday. Tanita Talks Business. And I talk about all kinds of business tips just like this.
Awesome. Well, look, we truly appreciate it. Like I said, you're a great, huge asset for the culture, for the community, for Hampton Roads. I'm just excited, to call you a friend. Thank you so much for putting out the time out your busy schedule to talk here on Arrington's Most Interested People.
Yes.
Y'all, I hope y'all enjoy. Be sure to tune in for another great segment I call Arrington's Most Interesting People. Take care.